Hey, welcome, and thanks for joining me today. I really enjoy doing this podcast. We're hitting around the 100 mark. I gotta figure that out, which episode hits 100. Two of the episodes were kind of like duplicates. I did different things with one of them. I just did an intro like this and then one without. I was kind of experimenting. Another one was done live. So I'm not really saying that those two are original episodes. So we're about around the 100 mark. I will advertise that duly on social media when that happens. I'm speaking to you in late February of 2023 from the Southeast, United States, and it is mild, to put it that way. It feels like, really honestly, I wish it was like this actually in the middle of summer. Hitting like a high of 75 today. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to get out there and run, and it's going to be at least probably around 60, which is nice for running weather. But today I have on Ronni Le Tekrø, I believe is how you say his name. People screw up my name too. It could be Neville, Nebel, whatever. It's really Nebel. I think if Germans look at my name, they would say, hey, that's Nebel, or actually Nabel. So we have a little bit of that going on, but Ronnie is just like an amazing artist from Oslo, Norway, and has teamed up again with Ledfoot, the legendary Ledfoot over there in Norway, to create their second release together. Because Ronnie was in a band called TNT. It's a classic artist. We have a really great discussion today, and we talk about all of our influences from Beatles to Bowie and everything in between and beyond. And they put together a really nice album of songs that I had just listened to called Limited Edition Lava Lamp. And it's the second release again, and I'm telling you, it's with Leadfoot. So I really hope you enjoy this episode. And hey, keep those emails coming in. My email is robertjnebel@gmail.com. And also talesfromthecorners.com is our main pod page. I basically, like this background says, I'm really into this background here. For those viewing on YouTube, TFTC with Bob Nebel. That is it. I didn't really want to put my name in this title, but there's so many podcasts out there with so many similar names and initials and everything like that. I had to kind of bite the bullet and do that. I really hope you enjoy this, and rock on. Where are you at?
I'm at the studio where I work, my own studio.
Good. How
So,
long have you
yeah,
had that studio?
I think 30 years. Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't it go fast? I mean, just like you get it
Oh,
all set up like that, and like bam, it's like I can't believe 3 decades have passed.
no, exactly. It's so fucking weird.
Isn't it? So how much have you recorded in there? Can you estimate like how many hours you spent in there, how many projects you've done?
Oh, I think we produced probably something like 250 albums
Amazing.
uh,
Yeah.
during these years. And how many hours, I have no idea. It must be tens of thousands.
Yeah, yeah. So what did it take to get it put together? Getting it constructed? Is it connected to your house? How does that all work in
It's a different houses. There's like a building where the band artist lives, and there's a second building where the studio is. Is was built with our architecture, perfect, state of the art.
Yeah, get the right people together and get the acoustics right, and of course
Exactly,
probably
old
been.
school.
So how much have you gone through like equipment in there? How much has that changed over the years? You went obviously from analog, obviously to really full on digital.
Well, still run a lot of analog stuff. I use SSL 4000 mixing board. uh, just old school stuff. But then, of course, I record digitally. But sometimes I do 24-track analog too, if I want that specific flavor of the music. It's definitely something different. Analog is always going to sound better either way. So.
Yeah, and so many say that, and just it's the warmth. Obviously, if you're doing this a
Mhm.
lot, you really know the differences and you understand that. But to the average person, it's like they don't really see that.
Mm. definitely. So I don't think they care anymore. But I'm at the age where I know the difference because I heard it. I heard the transition between.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Yeah,
feel it and you know it. It's just it's more of like a gut feeling. It's like I can't go with this synthetic sound. It sounds good when it's analog and the old school stuff works. And then probably just down to all your instruments. I'm sure you have some of your favorite instruments and guitars, pianos, synths, all that kind of stuff.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
I,
So,
I think we have like 14 Marshall heads.
wow.
There's like I don't know, maybe 25 guitar amplifiers, 5 different bass setups, grand piano, synthesizers, all that stuff. That old guys like me need to create.
Yeah,
real,
yeah.
real shit.
Right, right. The old school stuff just it's better. They don't make it like they used to. I mean, things are just manufactured in pretty bad places and it just doesn't sound as good as what was there. I mean, the challenge is trying to keep that stuff up and keep finding people who could fix these things and put the replacement parts in.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty big. So yes, how was it during COVID? Did you have people coming into the studio or you just like put the pieces
Mm.
parts together from
Oh,
different
no, we kind of experienced a very good period with COVID because a lot of bands and projects they want to get isolated, which we are. Because I'm in the middle of a forest next to the mountains. It's just a couple of bears and some wolves here, and falcons and 2 eagles.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I got way too much deer around here, but yeah, I've heard there's some black bears that hang out around there. What kind of bears do you have over there?
Oh, it's the Arctic, not the white bear. It's just a brown
Wow.
bear, I guess you call it. But they're big.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think about that so much. So obviously, growing up there in Norway, you had a lot of influences, and we hear that quite a bit on this new release. How did that all come together? This is called Lava Lamp, limited edition Lava Lamp.
Yeah, I think it's almost like a metaphor of life, or maybe a metaphor of me and Ledfoot Tim, that we're getting a little bit older, and it's life is a limited edition type of project.
Yeah, yeah, you got it's really all over the place. You have this really heavy single, The Ego in the Coffin.
Yeah.
And that's just like, how did that come about? Obviously, what is that influenced by? I hear like, I don't know, maybe like
Oh,
AC.
that was influenced by a friend of mine called Bob Eichen, American friend, a dear friend, and he said to me, his ego was so big that you couldn't fit it in the ego. No, you couldn't fit it in the coffin with him. And I said that to Ledfoot. He just loved that expression, and then he just took the words "ego" in the coffin and went off. So, but it was inspired by Bob Eichen, an American friend, and the riff. When I created the riffs, I just want to create, that British blues feeling, but backwards in a way.
Yeah, you could totally hear it. What a rocker. I mean, you got a lot on here, but that one really stands out. It's just the energy. It's something you could, yeah, definitely like for me to run to or just work out to. It's just like, oh my gosh, that'll wake
Thank
you
you.
up.
Thank you.
Definitely. So how did this collaboration with Ledfoot, also known as Tim Scott McConnell, how did that all come about? He's an American artist who ended up being in Norway in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, so we met about, I think, 13, 14 years ago. When he came to my studio to record his first Ledfoot album with a British producer. And then he asked me, Ronnie, is it okay if I stay some days extra because I'm having trouble at home? And I said, yes, you can do that. And then he stayed for 5 years. But
Wow.
that was perfect for me because I've been able to keep my, English is my second language, but I've been able to keep it warm, and also on a lyrical level. I've been learning a lot because he's obviously a great lyricist. So and has become a close friend. So we constantly develop music together, write new songs, individual or together.
Yeah, finding it in work when things are happening at home, it's like
Mm,
that's, I mean, it's good and it's not so good, but then you get a lot of inspiration. You get a lot of good songs out of that too, obviously.
definitely.
You just start writing about it. That's a good creative outlet. It's a good way of dealing with it. So I don't blame
Yeah.
him on that. So he comes up with more of the lyrics and you're coming up with melody. How does that work?
Oh, it's sometimes he comes up with the entire song, or I come up with the idea, and I got lyrical limitation. So, and maybe I have a cool sentence that I throw at him, and he takes it from there. Uh, so I'm constantly looking for new words. Like one new song we're working on. It's called "Phone Some." You know, when people are just sitting on their telephones.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
phone some. I think that's just really describes where the world is at.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah. Sometimes we forget what the world was like before all of this, and we just like everything's in these phones. I mean, everything from banking, not just talking. Talking's actually probably the last thing we do on these things. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's everywhere, and we're just consumed and constantly looking at stuff and just constantly, scrolling. That's all
yeah,
we do now.
and I loved if they did that, but if it was culturally connected in a way. Oh, look at this review. Go into to your magazine or station, check it out. Do you know what I mean?
It's completely
Uh,
changed now. Yeah.
yeah, but I think I can feel it's changing back again. Because I meet some younger people, I mean 15, 20. A lot of those people, they just love music from the 70s, rock, funk, all that. They hardly listen to contemporary music. And I was thinking, didn't I do the same thing? When I was young in the 80s, I would listen to 70s and 60s music. Wow, it's happening again, right?
Yeah.
The December issue, one of the December issue of Billboard magazine, they said that this is the first time in history where young people consume more old music than contemporary music. Wow, this is good, right?
It is because
And
it's real.
knowing that I think a lot of the pop music that's out there is just pure algorithm fucking shit, right? Cold, cold music.
Yeah, it takes like 15 producers to do and I not to knock Beyonce, that's more
Yeah,
of a
yeah.
performance artist. Like I think it was Joe Walsh who was saying this. It's like takes 15 people to produce just one track, and it's like, what does she do? And obviously it's more performance, but you're talking about the singer-songwriter. I mean, that stuff's really organic. That was so big, 70s
Yeah,
going into the 80s.
yeah,
And we hear that. We hear that like with your release, from Beatles to Bowie. I mean, this
yeah.
stuff,
Right. Thank you.
yeah.
So, but then again, you got to understand that most of the stuff we do in Europe is influenced by American music. It's just that we kind of mix it with more of the British blues, than the American blues. That's just a harmonic difference, basically. But it all comes from America. The whole, even the Beatles, no
Yeah.
Beatles, no Beatles without American music, for instance. So
Yeah, definitely the creators of the earworm, and most of the world has been just brought up on Beatles for the last, is it now 60,
but also black music, all
which
different
came
genres.
before. Yeah, yeah,
Uh, and you come to a realization how important it is, and more important as time goes. You just, yeah,
yeah. It has that roots here. From Muddy Waters, and then you going on to a Little Richard. It's like, yeah, that's where they all derived off.
or Robert Johnson,
Oh,
1915 or something,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Jimmy Rogers, 1921 or something, right? Uh,
totally,
these
yeah.
these are the fucking guys.
Oh, completely. Yeah, they're the architects. These guys really,
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't have Beatles and Rolling Stones without these guys.
No, and like my favorite guitar player, I think at least top three is Joe Walsh,
Yeah,
because you mentioned
yeah.
him. So
Came from my
which
neck of the woods.
has had a big impact on my guitar playing and songwriting. I would say too. So yeah, Joe is the guy, and
Yeah, yeah.
he's still alive. He's still alive. He should get the own city in the States, a big city named after himself, Joe Walsh City.
Yeah, great guy. Saw him at the airport once. Yeah, he was kind of from my neck of the woods. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, which the birthplace
Yeah,
of
right.
rock and roll. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, amazing stuff there. And it's if you get to that museum up there in Cleveland, the Rock Hall is really, really neat. It's just a lot of cool stuff there. Definitely.
Definitely what I want to see more.
Yeah. Your new release is great. You got these great musicians on there, which is just a great lineup and produced by HD Gunderson. Uh
Exactly.
it's work with some legends there. Gosh, it work with Donald Fagen. Love Donald Fagen.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
did some
So
work with
definitely, and the bass player on the album, he comes from the biggest Norwegian black metal band called Satyricon.
yeah, you could
Satyr.
hear it.
So
Yeah.
it's a mix between people from different genres. Some people come from Americana, I come from hard rock and psychedelic rock. Tim comes from the acoustic, you know the real stuff.
Standout tracks on here. Little Rosie. How did that one become about and get on this record? That's a
Little Rosie was a song I wrote in Norwegian, and it's in Norwegian is Lille Rose, ville kose, hey Lille Rose. Exactly the same thing, pretty much. So we
yeah.
kind of took that, and my words in Norwegian were kind of good in Norwegian, but it didn't kind of transpose into English. So he wrote a kind of like a murder ballad, changed the topic a little bit. Little Rosie murder ballad. The boyfriend is being shot in the forehead because he's doing drugs, and she's on speed and meth and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. Know about those tragic tales. Yeah. And then waiting to meet somebody named Johnny Jazz. Love these
Yeah,
lyrics.
yeah, right.
Too much of that we've seen in the world of rock. It's just
Oh yeah, too much.
yeah. You always wonder what could have been. People either who were assassinated
Mm.
like John Lennon or people who died like
Mm.
Jimi Hendrix. It's just it's always tragic. I always go back and think, God, wouldn't things have been so much better if these people survived and just
Oh, imagine now Jimi Hendrix on his 35th solo studio album.
yeah,
Or,
yeah,
or, or, or John Lennon, new album. Oh,
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
What
Oh,
would he have said all these years? It's like, we were
yeah,
so robbed.
yeah, definitely. I totally share your views regarding this, because knowing history is kind of knowing where we're at now, too.
Yeah.
And being able to compare, uh, hold on, are you here?
Especially these days. Yeah. What he could have said these days. It's just
Yeah,
whoever would have thought we would have ended up where we are now with all the things going
definitely.
on in the world. Just
Uh, I think it's going to be good. Ukraine is just 2 hour flight from here. Then you
yeah.
really then you realize how close it is. You know what I mean? It's next door almost. So
Yeah. How's
it's
that gonna end?
but again, the free democratic Western Europe, we stand up against shit like that.
It's right in that
Uh,
backyard, isn't it? It's like right on there. Yeah.
it's not far away.
Wow. Wow. You're just probably always thinking about it. But yeah, here in the States, we think of the Scandinavia, those countries, and we just think, oh wow, they're perfect. And they got healthcare down. And we're just a mess here. It's like, but they're healthier over there.
We have free hospitals and doctors for everybody, free schools for everybody, even universities free high school, college, everything is free.
I guess that's one of the things. Yeah,
If
that
you get sick, if you're poor and you get sick, you get the same treatment as that rich motherfucker, right?
yeah, exactly. It's a dream that we have here, but it will never happen. Here we have what are lobbyists and people who are out for themselves. And yeah, it's usually those rich ones.
But it's changing. It's changing. America has to work. It's God's experiment. So there are so many good things that happens in America too that we still adore.
Yeah.
And and politics is dangerous to talk because it could be used against me if I want to ever enter the states. Oh, well, that talk you had with this guy, they will say, right,
Right.
we're playing point.
Yeah.
Because that's how psychotic they are, right?
We have so much.
The different governments, that's where we're at, the whole world. Everybody suspects that somebody else is going to do something. I don't know. It's a goddamn conspiracy, the whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And the crazies, yeah, they really follow it and they get too into it. We've got and the rampant guns around here and people just acting on it. It's gotten really crazy. It really has.
And listen to this, you gotta love this. In Norway, the cops, they're not allowed to carry guns. So if you do something criminal and you run faster than them, you're safe.
Yeah. We hear it every now and then. It'll kind of happen in those countries, but it's pretty rare. Almost every day here, there's some kind of a gun crime.
Yeah, no, yeah. Occasionally we have crazy people too, but it's not on the streets. You don't see guns, like regularly.
Yeah. Gosh, yeah. Every time you turn,
so you can fight the world with the paper tigers, right?
yeah. But you always have
tigers.
Yeah.
What?
It's tricky in there. Yeah, it is. And in the world of entertainment, and you've seen some of these artists who might be giving opinions, and you don't know who you're going to rub the wrong way.
I mean, politics is a dangerous thing because somebody is always going to be not share your visions, but at the same time, we can't be cowards. We got to stand up against tyrants, etc. Right? We got to protect democracy and the individual person, etc.
Yeah. So growing up in Norway, how did you discover music and get yourself on the instruments? Did you take lessons or basically self-taught?
I started taking lessons pretty early, classical music. We didn't have much pop and rock on the radio because it was almost like communists at the time when I grew up. So it would be like maybe yesterday with the Beatles or something, but or raindrops keep falling on my head, something like that. But we didn't have rock like you guys. You got poisoned from day one. We just have fucking Bach and Beethoven and shit on the radio.
So you kind of had to do what they did over in the old Soviet Union and try to just you got bootlegs or here's a tape secretly, just pop it in, listen to it at night.
It was pretty much like that.
Crazy.
For instance, the last or the first Van Halen album that came as one guy went to the States, got the album on vinyl, and I grew up in a small town, about 10,000 people. This guy came back with the Van Halen album, and I swear to God, 72 hours later, there was 1,000 copies of that in that little town, right?
Oh, yeah. I could see that.
That's the impact Van Halen had all over the world the same minute they came out, right?
Yeah. Wow, what a rock.
It was almost faster than the internet. Those copies were right.
The people speak. Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. First Van Halen album. It's just,
oh, Jesus Christ.
That will change anybody. Gosh, Eddie Van Halen did, as far as that being a guitarist and really just mastering it and having his own style. And there's nobody like that.
No. It was I mean, a straight line from Hendrix to Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah. What a god. I knew a lot of people who saw them in concert. I never got to see them in concert, but yeah.
No, me neither. None of the bands that I adore, like Van Halen, Thin Lizzy, I never saw live.
Yeah, I always miss them, man. I knew people, at school, I think it was the 1984 tour, and people had the 1984 shirts. I was like, oh man, I can't go to every show. I don't have that much money.
Yeah.
Of course, the tickets were way cheaper back then. But
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
I have a similar story. I had to choose between something, so I couldn't afford it in this ticket, right?
yeah. Yeah. Wow. But I got to see Bowie on that Sound and
Wow.
Vision tour. That was good.
I mean,
Bowie had Adrian Belew with him, and it was just, he ran through the hits and said, I'm not going to do these again. But wow, it felt great.
you saw all the stuff you mentioned. You sound like a kind of a Britophile taste, right? David Bowie.
Yeah.
You refer to those monsters, but I have the similar taste, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think so. Some of the best rock happened in England. Uh, no, not to hurt anybody, but historically too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What a genius. He had his own style and wasn't afraid for changing. And so many people just get caught in. I love the Rolling Stones, but it is the same. It's just
Yeah,
that specific sound. It's, they're not experimenting and trying to, be chameleons like Bowie was. He was one
no,
of a kind.
definitely.
And you hear that on the new project you have there. You got just, a ton of influence, and it seemed like you really like the White Stripes. I feel there's some of that vibe in there too.
It could be, but that wasn't consciously. Well, I just like the. I never listened to any of his music other than what I've seen him do.
Yeah.
I just love the whole vibe, his whole vibe, though. So if people compare us to that type of musicality, I'm honored.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a cover of Sister from the movie Color Purple.
Yeah, he can call me. Jack White can call me if he wants to do something.
Yeah. Okay. Paging Jack White. Yeah. Seems really, really good. Seems like
I think me and him would really work well together. Don't you think so?
oh, totally. Totally. He seems like somebody who you could work really well with. Definitely.
I like his personality. I've seen some interviews, and yeah.
Yeah, the personality. Yeah, definitely. I
Mm,
like when he goes on Conan O'Brien's podcast. It's really
okay.
enjoyed that. So, the cover of Sister from Color Purples.
Mm.
Obviously, you like the movie. You stumbled on that. Why the choice of that and putting that on the new album?
You know something? You know something. I just started playing that song by myself and singing it. It's one octave below the original key, and I wrote like an additional intro. Wrote an
Yeah,
extra
yeah.
theme
Your own
just
take
to
on it.
feel some kind of ownership. And pretty much tracked it in one take where I play acoustic guitar and sing, and Tim put a couple of slide guitars here and there, and I think that's it, and a mellotron.
Yeah,
It's
it's so
a
cool to see that. To see that. Yeah.
and I love the message of the movie, and I was thinking, man, this is. Of course, I had to turn the lyrics around, alter them a little bit. The last line, for instance, um, to make it, be from a man to a woman instead
Right.
from a sister to a sister. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Interesting
I,
take.
I, I think it turned out pretty goddamn, I don't know, something about it.
Yeah. And then in the mixing and the way that it's produced, it's just, it really does make a huge difference. And again, the variety on this album, it's just, if you want something that, can take you from different places, this is the album to get. And it sounded like you worked
Thank
hard.
you.
Took about what, 8 days for you to put this
Eight,
together?
8 days, 8 days total. Yeah, including mixing. So we just wanted that compressed Beatles type of Get Back feeling, that the TV series when they do start building that material, the same kind of feeling. You sit in the studio, you talk together, you wake up together, and you work from early morning till midnight every day. Right?
Yeah. You
I
feel like
love
that?
that.
Yeah. That's cool.
And then we were looking for the variety of the Beatles that they have on like the White Album and shit, where you can really go from a country song into a dark Helter Skelter type of song with Ego in the Coffin, into 20s stuff with a sister, or just to do that roller coaster thing,
Yeah.
I was always fascinated by that. Anyway, those albums that gave me a ride. I didn't When I don't know which door that will be opened, then I love those albums.
Yeah, White Album. Gosh, they recorded
Yeah.
hours and hours, and the whole Get Back sessions. Wow, there's so
And
much
I
stuff.
think Jeff Buckley had that sense of color in his work. The short period he was, of course, able to work, but he had that roller coaster approach to the material that. And here's another one. Imagine if he still lived. Oh, Jesus Christ! On album number 12 or something.
Yeah. Wow. Got a nice 7-minute trippy track on this album. That's it's really, if you're into jams, this is a great thing to be listening to. And good background music as well. Yeah, what inspired you to do that and to put that on the album?
We're talking about the title track, right?
Yeah, the
Limited
title track.
It's I think it's me and Tim's fascination for psychedelic rock, Steve Village, Pink Floyd, and also the Tubes, especially the Tubes.
Yeah.
We're both big fans of the Tubes. So I think that kind of inspired, and also the work I've been doing with that ambient, almost like classical approach to it, right? And also when you hear the riff, it has some folk music elements, It's a international kind of folk music. If it was in Ireland, North America, or Norway, it's the same feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so, so it kind of blends folk rock, psychedelic rock with the Tubes and endless psychedelia when it breaks down into complete disharmonic. The end of the song, everything melts. Man, I love that shit, and it's done live.
Yeah, you get that feeling when you're doing this live. You're not being too pretentious, and it really
Yeah,
shows in that final product.
yeah, and sometimes you got to play shit without thinking about the consequences.
Yeah, yeah, and you shouldn't care. I mean, that's the best work, is when you're going to go in there organically and
I
not
agree.
overthink everything.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, completely. So when did you find you were the founder of TNT? How did you
Mm.
guys get together with that?
Oh, I was a kid. I had a band prior to TNT from 77 to
Wow.
1982. When we were four guys, we came from TNT. We came from four different bands. So TNT, we were just going to meet to kind of record a couple of songs, and then just ended up with a new band.
Yeah,
Uh,
77, 82. That was an interesting time because you really had punk that was still going. Gosh, I saw that Sid and Nancy movie. Wow, that was insane. You
yeah,
had punk going, then disco was kind of coming down, and and then some other great stuff. It was a great mix at that point. Yeah, but just like incredibly different. I mean, disco to like
yeah.
then say Bob Seger.
And also like hard rock was like considered like dinosaur dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a really weird time.
Yeah, and then going
But,
into
but,
the
but,
80s
but,
with
some
the
of,
synth sound.
but some of the best music. It. I mean, I was there.
Yeah, you were there for all of that. Yeah, definitely. And it's these days it seems like anybody can, make their own recording studio digitally. You can, computers are now more affordable. That's great, but then so many people can do it. The competition is so hard to get noticed. So you got to do things to kind of stick out, which is tough
Mm.
these days.
Mm. You just gotta have better electronics than them. More
Yeah.
expensive electronics. You gotta have better rooms, bigger dreams. and be more patient. That's the
Yeah.
recipe.
Yeah. And just do your own thing and not really not be out there worrying about it. So it's you got to do what you got to do in that sense too.
Yeah, if you look at electronics, everybody can pretty much buy a Volkswagen, a small Volkswagen, but not many can afford to buy a Porsche. But when you go on the racetrack, that Porsche will win that race, and you know
Yeah.
it. So the same thing with electronics.
Yeah. Yeah. Out of your whole catalog now, how many solo albums do you have?
Oh, let me see. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 12.
12. Wow.
Yeah.
What a catalog. Gosh, we got to see you in the record stores there. I miss going to record stores. I used to
Yeah, me
love just thumbing through the vinyl. It's just they're not too many. I mean, hopefully they're coming back too. I think that's what kids are discovering vinyl these days.
Oh, vinyl is growing rapidly in Europe.
Love
It's
the artwork. How about that? Remember Yes, the band came up through the 70s and they just had incredible artwork on their albums.
yeah,
Love that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. All that. I think those were made by some Hypnosis. This artwork people from England that made a lot of the covers for Yes, Genesis. A lot of the big artists used the same company, Hypnosis. They were called.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. And can we get your new album on vinyl?
The new album is coming out on vinyl and picture disc and CD. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So I'm keeping it up.
Yeah, it's good after all this time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 59 now. I'm going to be 60 this year. So I just want to try to, make some more good albums. And but I don't have a million years left. So it's got to happen now.
Yeah, but not ready to retire by any means. I
Oh
look
no
at
no no
people.
no 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 no, not you
Yeah.
either. I don't. I hope you don't retire in another 15.
Yeah, easily. Look at Paul McCartney still going. He's in good
Yeah,
shape.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bruce
And we gotta have some.
Springsteen.
Yeah, we gotta be interested in some things in life. Otherwise, we become old overnight.
It's nice seeing these guys still doing it. It gives you inspiration. It's like, you know what? They're still going, I can go. No reason
Yeah.
why I can't.
Okay, my friend, I gotta run now. But do you have any more questions for me?
I am good. You just have a great new album. Everybody should go out there and get it.
Thank you.
It's coming out on vinyl,
Thank you so
CD.
much.
We can probably find it where all the digital things are. Amazon Music, which is one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And great speaking with you.
Yeah,
Great
thanks
time.
the same. It was a really nice conversation, and we share a lot of actually musical background I can hear. Thank you for an insightful interview, and thank you for supporting our music.
Thank you for joining me all the way from Norway. You guys are a good 6 hours ahead of me. So thank you so much
We
for
are.
your time.
Okay, goodbye from Europe.
Take care.